Hi everyone, I'm Kieran from Keys Minis. Welcome to my first video on this new channel. I'm going to kind of take you through a rusted armour tutorial. It's kind of an adaptation of a Darren Latham tutorial. I'm going to leave a link in the description. I was using that technique and it just didn't quite work on the model I was using, so I needed to adapt it just for my use. So it's a rusted weathered effect using metallics and shades. That's all you're going to use, a few metallics and shades to get this effect. So the first paint I'm using is Leadbelcher. I've got it nice and thin down on my pot, and I'm just going to hit all the armour areas here, taking care where I've done any detailing before. I'll try and bring it a little bit closer so you can see just here. Kind of difficult because my camera's in an awkward position and I'm actually sat higher than I would usually paint normally, but hey, things we do to try and launch a YouTube channel. Right, so the next stage I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto a shade with Nuln Oil, and I'm just basically going to shade all over the model again. A Nuln Oil shade, we're just going to spread it around. It doesn't matter if it pools so much, because in the next stage we're going to go over with Agrax Earth shade anyway. So if it does pool, don't worry about it too much, but we're just going to spread it out across all these metallic areas as well. Get a nice Nuln Oil so it dulls down that silver a little bit, and we're kind of on our way to the third stage. I'm going to crack on with this and do it. Now we're going to go with the layer of Agrax Earth shade. Again, we're just going to apply it loosely across the areas. It doesn't matter if it pools, because in further stages, and it doesn't matter if the Nuln Oil is perfectly dry at this stage, it is better obviously if it is, but because of the next stage afterwards, we're gonna create our rust with our metallics. You don't need to, but if you want, this itself creates a nice rusted effect. And it could just be done easily like this for a battle ready model. I try and push myself a little bit further each model and get better with everything I'm doing, but it all depends on what you want. If you just want a nice quick battle ready, a bit of Nuln Oil and Agrax Earth shade over Leadbelcher, maybe 2 layers, will create just a nice effect in itself. Yeah, sorry if I'm getting my hands in the way of the camera. I might have to try another angle with the next one I film. It's all about learning. So the next stage I'm going to use Vallejo Tinitin. Now I believe GW has its own variation of this product, so if you find one, by all means use it. Or you can mix a bronze or the Balthazar Gold up with something a bit browny as well, I suppose, and get a similar kind of effect. But again we're going to be quite loose with this one. A bit more of a stippled motion, so just dabbing it. But we're going to cover quite a bigger area than what we will on the next couple of stages. So you could paint all of this here, and you could even miss the silver out, or one of the other stages. It's just a stage I prefer to do now with the shades. I think it gives a nice effect under, and it means you don't have to be as heavy hitting some of these areas or as big. But I will go bigger with this tin, and then I'd layer up in the next stage with another colour. But again, it's more of a stippled effect. I'm just dotting it around into the areas I want to hit. I'm just dotting it around into the areas I want to hit with this effect here. My next layers are going to be with, my next two layers are going to be with a hammerhead copper and a brassy brass. This is slightly lighter colour than the hammerhead copper. This is quite close to Balthazar Gold. This is quite close to GW's Balthazar Gold. I found that to be a good alternative. So I'm just going to go in with some of these areas where I've hit the tinny tin, a nice stippling effect. Just touching some around, like some of the nuts and bolts. You can go a little bit heavier, and it's up to you how heavy you want to be with this. You could go really thick, not necessarily really thick. You want to thin your paint down quite a lot. I found out doing some of the early ones I was a bit too thick and it made it uneven. But what I mean by thick is large areas, or you could just go nice small areas, just touching it in areas, and because we're going to build up with the next stage anyway. So the next stage is I'm going to go in with brassy brass, and I've kind of done this already because my camera wasn't focusing as good. But with brassy brass, all I'm going to do is create a layer in some of those copper areas. I'm going to try and bring this as close as I can. So in some of those copper areas, I'm just going to create a smaller layer by stippling in again, and just build it up. Again, I want to water this down a lot, pull into the areas where we've already gone over with our tin and our brass, our original copper colour. It's a bit too wet to there. Can't go into that area just yet. But basically, yeah, we're just going to create another layer inside, adds more depth to it, brightens it up, gives it more of a rustic feel. Rust itself's got different layers. Sometimes it's brighter, sometimes it's not so bright. Now, obviously, this is a fantasy miniature as well, so you can be as loose as you want with it. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be completely realistic. My style is kind of in between realism and cartoony, really, and that's what I like. I'm still developing as a artist, so yeah, just find what's comfortable for you. Go into them little layers, just nice little stippling effects into the copper, and just layer it up. So the next stage I'm going to do is silver, and what I'm basically going to do is pick edge highlights. I'm using a chainmail silver from Vallejo Game Colour, but Stormos silver works just as well with this, and you can edge highlight it or you can dry brush. Either works fine, or a combination I've used on some. But I'm just going to really pick out these raised areas now, but I'm also going to not make the lines 100%. I'm going to break them and I'm going to draw out, and I'm just basically damaging it. It's rusted armour. It doesn't have to be perfect, clean lines or even clean damages. Now if you do get it a little bit wrong, just wipe it off with your finger, and again break your lines a little bit, work around some damage, draw in some damage as well. Also, be loose, and if you feel like it's too bright in certain areas in the last stage, I also went back and I went over with some more tin in certain areas as well, and that's fine. You've got to feel what's right for you as the model develops. It's never going to be 100%, and I always say that you learn with every model you're painting. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that first video. If you have, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. You can hit the bell notification button as well, and that'll keep you up to date with future videos. Just to let you know what I'm going to try and do with this channel is I'm going to try and bring you one video a week for now to start with, and it's going to be either a speed paint, I might look at a product. I've got a product that I want to look at with a mausoleum for the streaking effect, so we might take a look at that next time. It may be an unboxing, it may be a look at my pile of shame, just anything hobby related really. I do want to play a game of Blood Bowl real soon. That's why I've been painting the characters, and me and my son's going to play, so if I can set up and film when we start to play as well, we'll bring you some game reports as well. I may also bring you some content from Total War Warhammer, or any other Total War game really, because I'm a massive fan of those videos as well. But yeah, I'll create a schedule if things get added to it later on. But again, but thank you for joining me on this first video, and I'll hopefully see you again real soon.